This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. We have a busy Friday for you. Let's begin in the Middle East, where Israel is rejoicing over the release of 8 hostages and looking forward to welcoming 3 more on Sunday. But the celebrations are tempered by the fact terrorists are being set free from Israeli prisons. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl is on the story.
The 8 hostages set free Thursday came home to a hero's welcome from family and friends and the country.
The entire state of Israel embraces you, as do my wife, Sarah, and I. This release was achieved, first of all, thanks to our heroic soldiers, and it was also achieved thanks to the steadfast and determined stand that we took during the negotiations.
On the helicopter to the hospital, Agam Berger held a sign thanking the country and saying, "I chose the path of faith, and in faith I returned." Berger, a violinist, was the last of 5 female IDF lookout soldiers to be released. She had a joyous reunion with family and her fellow soldiers. Gadi Moses, who turned 80 in captivity, returned to Israel smiling and was reunited with his children. Arbel Yehud, who reportedly spent her entire 482 days alone, had a chaotic exit from Gaza. She and Moses were held by Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Her exit was so chaotic that Netanyahu temporarily suspended the Palestinian prisoners' release until he had assurances from mediators that it wouldn't happen again.
During the release of our hostages today, we all saw shocking scenes. We made it clear to the mediators that we do not intend to accept any risk to our hostages.
The Thailand hostages, who have no family here, were greeted at the hospital by their country's ambassador to Israel.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that they will feel at home here.
The 3 hostages expected to be released on Saturday after 484 days in captivity are Ofer Calderon, American-Israeli Keith Siegel, and Yarden Bibis, whose wife and 2 little boys, Kfir and Ariel, are still held hostage. Negotiators will start hashing out the details of the second phase of the hostage deal on Monday, which should lead to the release of the remaining living hostages and Israeli forces withdrawing from Gaza. Among the 110 Palestinian prisoners freed Thursday in exchange for the hostages was a West Bank terrorist leader with the blood of many Israelis on his hands. Zakaria Zubeidi was given a hero's welcome by a huge crowd in Ramallah as he thanked Allah for his freedom. Despite more than a year of crushing blows, Hamas says it won the war in Gaza. A senior official for the group tells the Associated Press the Palestinian people were not defeated. The enemy did not achieve its goals. It appears President Trump may be willing to use economic pressure to get Egypt and Jordan to take in many of the Palestinians left homeless by the war in Gaza. Both countries have rejected Trump's idea, but he pushed it again Thursday.
They're going to do it. Okay? We do a lot for them, and they're going to do it.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
We turn now to the icy waters of the Potomac River, where divers had recovered most of the dead from the wreckage of an American Airlines jet and Army helicopter that collided Wednesday. It killed 67 people. Aldil Hurd has more.
Crash. This is Alert 3. Crash. This is Alert 3.
Investigators are trying to learn why an Army Black Hawk helicopter apparently deviated from its approved path before the deadly crash, flying at near 300 feet when it should have been flying under 200 feet.
The military does dangerous things. It does routine things on the regular basis. Tragically, last night, a mistake was made. There was some sort of an elevation issue that we have immediately begun investigating.
Some experts believe neither the jet or the helicopter saw each other, calling it a tragic sequence of events. A helicopter pilot can be heard acknowledging the plane. Some experts think it was the wrong plane. The Federal Aviation Administration also reported the air traffic controller on duty was handling 2 different positions instead of 1. And the National Transportation Safety Board has recovered the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder. Pilots have long worried that Washington, D.C.'s complex airspace could be a disaster waiting to happen. As retired Navy captain and former Navy helicopter pilot Todd Flannery explained on CBN's Faith Nation.
It's just the density of the air traffic that's here. Make it a really difficult area to, I shouldn't say difficult, just a very challenging area to operate, where you always have to be paying attention to radio calls and be ready to maneuver your aircraft as directed by air traffic control.
U.S. Figure Skating says 14 athletes, including some of the rising stars of the sport, were on the plane, alongside their coaches and family members. 16-year-old Spencer Lane was one of those skaters. Lane was traveling with his mom when they crashed. Lane's dad said he didn't know there was a problem until he saw the notification.
I was just like, oh my God, and my heart just started like exploding out of my chest, and I just started scrambling from there.
Also 12-year-old skater and cancer survivor Brielle Beyer and her mom Justina, dad Andy Beyer.
She was just such a fighter in everything she did, and she just lived life to the fullest with everything. They were gone for 6 days before this happened, and I really missed them. I lived my life for my family.
Other victims included Kaya Duggins, who had been visiting her mom in her hometown of Wichita. Grace Maxwell was a junior at Cedarville University in Ohio on her way back to school. Elizabeth Keys, who was traveling on her birthday. Youth ice dance partners Angela Yang and Sean Kay. Roger and Stephanie Hanos and skater son Corey. And Russian figure skating coaches and former world champions Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Noimov. With the American Airlines flight landing at Reagan National Airport having come from Wichita, Pastor John Morris at Vima Church in that city tells CBN News local residents are shocked and grieving.
It's just these kind of things you never expected. It's always someone else, but then when it's you, it kind of just shakes you. I think a great prayer to pray is, God, do what you can do. There's things that I can't do, but Holy Spirit, would you move? Would you bring comfort? Would you bring peace that goes beyond understanding? Would you move in a powerful way?
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Turning now to Capitol Hill, where confirmation hearings continue for the president's cabinet. Thursday, former House Democrat turned Republican Tulsi Gabbard faced questions. She's the president's nominee for Director of National Intelligence. Gabbard vowed, if confirmed, she would, quote, lead by example, check her own personal views at the door, and commit to delivering intelligence that is collected, analyzed, and reported without bias, prejudice, or political influence. During questioning, however, ranking Democrat Senator Mark Warner quickly challenged Gabbard's fitness to be the National Intelligence Director. He called Gabbard's previous quotes touting Edward Snowden as a brave whistleblower.
Brave. Please join my bipartisan legislation calling for charges to be dropped against him. Do you disagree that legislation was not appropriate? Do you believe he is brave or not?
Yeah,
back those words?
Once again, Senator, Edward Snowden broke the law.
Republican senators, including committee chair Tom Cotton, expressed support for the nominee, and Joni Ernst, the retired National Guard commander, praised Gabbard's combat background. A key issue for Warner and other Democrats has been Gabbard's stance criticizing FISA, the federal law allowing the government to collect and analyze foreign intelligence information within the United States. She called it an overreach. Senators also grilled Kash Patel, President Trump's pick to lead the FBI. As expected, Democrats brought up past statements about Patel's so-called enemies list and also questioned his qualifications to be confirmed as FBI director. Republicans came to the nominee's defense and praised him for seeking to reform the FBI, which Chairman Charles Grassley described as an agency in crisis. Patel also defended himself against attacks he labeled false information. If confirmed as FBI director, Patel would replace Christopher Wray, who held the position for more than 7 years and resigned following the November election. Coming up, they have fled underground because threats overhead. Ukrainian soldiers are deep inside tunnels holding the line against Russian forces. CBN News is going to take you inside the front lines of the war in just a moment. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. After nearly 3 years of war, Ukraine is exhausted. Daily missile strikes rattle Kyiv as fierce battles rage near the front lines. In the eastern Donbass region, cities have become focal points in a grinding war of attrition. Chuck Holton reports from the front line.
The war has taken a heavy toll on eastern Ukraine. With cities like Kramatorsk under constant threat of attack, civilians are left to decide between escaping or enduring life in a war zone. Our team traveled to the front lines to see what these people are facing.
I want to stay in Ukraine, not in Russia. I don't know why Putin needs this, but we want to live in Ukraine.
I'm not sure what expectations others have, but what I hope for is an end to this conflict. It would be best if we didn't give away any land to them, especially since many of our relatives live there. There is already so much division.
Traveling here has become increasingly dangerous as drones dominate the battlefield. These unmanned aircraft monitor and attack, making movement risky and unpredictable. And we just saw 2 FPV drones. And so we have a jammer on our vehicle you can see right there. But if those drones are wire guided and not wireless, we're in big trouble. Let's go.
I've been contacted by the Foreign Legion, which is the Americans who are fighting over here on the behalf of the Ukrainian government. So they contacted me to come out here and do some ministering, do some chaplaincy work with those guys.
This is how the soldiers in the field are living. These underground tunnel systems and bunkers just go for miles along the front line. And you just come down here, let's take a look, and you can see how wet and cold and miserable it is down here. These positions have to be deep underground to withstand bombardment of artillery. And they spend a lot of time down here with very little to keep them warm, very little to do, just holding the line against the Russian aggression. There are still more than 4,000 members of the International Legion fighting here, and many have been here for years. We visited a group at a Bible study near the front lines, where they spoke openly about the war and how the recent U.S. election might impact Ukraine.
If Trump continues to support Ukraine, great. If he doesn't, we'll find another way. And that's basically it. We can't not. So whatever happens outside of Ukraine is their problem. And we'll deal with the cards we're dealt with on the ground.
We wait from actual help from the people of the United States, not your politics, because they can promise something on elections, but actual situation all over the world is changing every day. So we wait some support and understanding our situation. And I want to ask all people of the United States analyze the situation well to understand it.
I think on the international volunteer side, we would like to see continued support, although that's not what we expect, at least at the same level. However, a lot of people see Trump as a wild card, so to say. So things could go either way. He could completely pull out all support for Ukraine, and things will get pretty difficult for Ukraine as far as negotiating or even holding the front lines. Or, some people even hope that Trump will actually be tougher on Putin and force him, into a favorable deal down the line. Although we don't expect that this war will end within 24 hours at least. We think it's a little more complicated than that.
As winter continues, the hardships for those near the front lines intensifies. Civilians and soldiers alike face freezing conditions, limited supplies, and unrelenting attacks. Despite these challenges, their hope for an acceptable peace remains.
God is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in trouble. And so while we're in here, we hear the bombs and drones exploding out there. And whenever I feel that I need to call out to God, I know when I call out to him, we serve a real and a righteous God, and he is a very present help in danger.
From Ukraine, I'm Chuck Holt for CBN News.
Well, welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. If you are a fan of the NFL and you're wondering what to do without football this weekend, our CBN sports reporter Will Dawson is here to help. So, Will, the Super Bowl is set. It's the Chiefs and the Eagles. They're going to play in the Super Bowl 59 next week in New Orleans. You're going to be there with the players with interviews throughout the week. Tell us about that.
CBN Sports teams headed down on Sunday. We're going to be bringing you
lots of content. We've got a story scheduled for CBN News, story scheduled for the 700 Club, but lots of interviews with a bunch of players who are followers of Jesus. Listen to this, Ephraim, 203 million people are expected to watch this year's Super Bowl. Unbelievable. So that's plenty of opportunity for all these guys to bring glory to Jesus.
I appreciate that. I always look forward to that. So what does a sports fan do this weekend without an NFL game to watch?
It's tough, isn't it? As football season kind of slows down, as it ramps down, college basketball season is ramping up. January's gone. March Madness is right around the corner. There are a lot of marquee games this weekend, including Duke, North Carolina. But you know what? They play twice a year. And North Carolina has struggled this year. So I anticipate that the most watched game this weekend on Saturday night is going to be Kentucky and Arkansas. John Calipari, Hall of Fame coach, once coached for Kentucky last year for 15 seasons. He's now on the other sideline, and he took about 6 guys with him from Kentucky. So that'll be interesting. Kentucky is led by Otega Owe, their leading scorer. He grew up in a Christian home. He loves Jesus, and he's really growing in his faith. And I sat down with him for a story that airs on 700 Club today. Here's a sneak peek.
So tell me, what does your name mean?
So it means we give God the highest praise.
What does that mean to you in your life and how you play basketball?
I mean, for me, it just kind of means that I just give God praise in all situations, because obviously in the path that I'm in, it's the unknown, so you don't know what's really going to happen. You can put in all this work and you can still not make it, but regardless, I mean, God got me here for a reason, so he just gets all the praise. Just things off the court that I got in trouble doing certain things where I had to take a break from basketball, and when I had to take that break, that's when I really turned it around. I mean, like, I just always go back to that. Like, I give God the highest praise in all situations. I just want to use my skills to show that, I mean, I give God all the glory. So, I mean, I just do that every single day. God gets all the glory, because I wouldn't be here without him at all.
I talked to him about reading his Bible. He said he does that every day, and he's just trying to grow. But what an amazing story he has. That story, like I said, will air on the 700 Club today. And just check it out when you get an opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that, Will Dawson. Thank you so much for your time. For more faith and sports content, be sure to check out CBN Sports. You can find it on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe while you're there and follow them on Instagram at CBN Sports _. Will, again, thank you. And of course, we'll be looking for all of your coverage come next week at Super Bowl 59. We will definitely
thank
be
you,
watching.
Ephraim. Hey, and listen, next week, we don't have to do it right now, but next week we're making predictions. You seem to always get those right. so I'm looking forward to who you think's going to win between the Chiefs and the Eagles.
All right, we will check in together next week and figure that out. I appreciate you. Coming up, we've got a special preview of the upcoming biblical series, House of David, plus an encouraging word for your Friday as we wind down to the weekend. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. We will be right back. The new series, House of David, premieres in just a few weeks, and we have an exclusive look at the series trailer. The biblical drama tells the story of David's rise from shepherd boy to renowned and celebrated the King of Israel. It's written and directed by filmmakers John Irwin and John Gunn. Here is that exclusive preview.
Can one stone change the course of history?
Send me your champion!
Goliath! Can one act of defiance create the legend? I will tell you the story of David, a simple shepherd boy.
Why do my brothers get to fight? And I'm stuck here.
David, you are not a man of blood.
An outcast who became one of the most famous kings who ever lived.
God does not see what man sees. He sees into the heart. And you have the heart of a lion.
The Philistines have assembled.
I saw the print of a hand, larger than a weaver's basket.
They have a giant. What?
My king, I will fight the giant. Fight him with the same spirit you bring into this room.
You play music for my father. Now he chooses you as champion. How will you do this?
It's not about the greatness of the giant. It is about the greatness of God.
Are you afraid?
Terrified.
I believe in you. So, as the fate of a people hangs in the balance, again I ask this question. Can one stone change the course of history?
And you'll get the answer soon. House of David premieres on Prime Video February 27th. Time now for your Friday Faithful, and today I want to leave you with this thought as we wrap the week together. Consider this your reminder. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Stay strong. Endure the night. There is joy on the other side. The weeping, the struggle, the pain, it's only for the night. One night. Only one night. So open your eyes. It is morning. That will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time as well as online. That address is cbnnews.com. Take a moment. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day. You can email us. That address is newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here come Monday.